if you've seen it, that, oh, and there's a cat just running across the front there at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Sorry about that. Hello folks, I hope you're all doing well. We are here in the garden for a change because we're going to harvest the first 2 buckets of first earlies of the year. And I've been out here probably about 4 times now to try and film this. And every time I've come out, it started raining, and now we've got sunshine. So, you know, the number of times I've said this year that the weather's been a bit odd, and it has been. And I was watching Steve over at Greenside Up yesterday, link up there to his channel, and he was harvesting his first earlies, and he'd said as well that the weather's just been a bit weird this year. All sorts of things going on with it. I must admit, I've not been great at watering these, so we'll see how they turn out. And there's 2 slight differences in these buckets here. These ones here at the back here, these are Pentland Javelin, and they didn't have chicken manure pellets in the mix. These ones here at the front that are Swift did have chicken manure pellets in the mix. And the whole thing about there's loads of nitrogen in the chicken manure and it creates too much top growth, the green growth on the potatoes, and not enough growth in the actual potatoes themselves. It's not a real experiment. I mean, there's slightly different compost in both. They're different types of potatoes, but we'll see if it made a significant difference or not. But anyway, let's get on with it. Let's have a look. And plus, actually, one other thing to say. Why am I in the garden and not at the allotment? Well, I've brought these buckets home because I'm going to reuse them. So we'll get all this tipped out. I'll get the compost sieved. I'll get some more nutrition back in it, in the buckets, and the Autumn King carrots are going to be going in here. So I'll do something on that when I come to do them in the next day or 2. So hopefully you'll see something coming out on that. Anyway, enough of me waffling on. Let's see if we've actually got some decent potatoes or not. And I've actually remembered to label them. It's a miracle. So I can already see on the top here of the Pentland Javelin, there's one there, slightly green. So it must have been sitting right on the top, even though I've got this sort of strulchy kind of straw stuff on the top there, and one tiny little tiddler. But let's get this tipped out into here. Now I can see in the bottom of here there's a lot of ants, so it should be fine. I mean, the ants don't really cause any trouble in and about the potatoes and whatnot, but it's very, very, very dry. But what I won't be doing is reusing this compost probably for the carrots now that it's got all these ants in it. But we'll see. Let's start breaking this up. I'm not seeing much. There's the seed potato from the start. Here's one. Pop it in there, and I must, just while I'm doing this, while I'm going through them, to say that one of the things I like about doing the potatoes in the buckets as opposed to in the ground, because I do have a load in the ground up at the allotment as well, is that they always come out really, really clean. I mean, sometimes they don't come out quite as big, but they always come out really clean, and there's very rarely anything like any sort of scab or anything on them, which is really, really nice, especially when you're doing the first earlies, the sort of new potatoes where you generally cook them with the skin on and just sort of boil them up and do them with a bit of butter. And well, that one looks a bit rotten actually. We'll put that to one side. See, here's me saying how good the potatoes are. I've got one rotten one there right on the top. But yeah, like I say, they're generally really clean potatoes, and they don't take much prep. So say cook them up, boil them up in the water, a bit of butter, a bit of mint, a bit of sea salt, you know, and you're good to go. It really is quite simple to prep them, and we're just about done in amongst all these blooming ants. That, to be fair, like I say, the ants, a lot of people worry about them in and about stuff, but they don't really cause you any problems, or they've not caused me any problems. You know, I've had them in one of the raised beds before. I've had them in the polytunnel before, but they're generally not much of a nuisance. So let's have a look. I think let's have a bit of a rummage around, get all the little tiddlers, break this bit up, none in there. That is about it. So let's have a look. So, I'm going to come over. Bear with me a second as I disappear off the camera. Show you them close up. So that's the Pentland Javelins there. And you can see there's the odd little ant in there. We'll wash them off. Don't worry about them. And this one here. This is the one that's gone a bit rotten. I'm not sure why it's done that, but the harvest is okay-ish, I'll say. It's not the best, but we'll see. Anyway, right. I'm going to go and sort them out, and I'll be back with you in just a second, and we'll do the Swift. Right, I'm back, and minus the ants this time, and hopefully no ants in the bottom of this one with a bit of luck, but these ones are the Swift first early, so let's tip them out in there and have a look. And what do we have in here? We don't have any ants, thankfully. Let's just move that out of the way. And I can already see, I don't know if it's the variety or what, but there definitely looks to be more bigger and better potatoes in the Swift that have had the chicken manure in. But what I'd also say is that the compost in here is a lot, it's a lot more moist. There's a lot more moisture in it. I can see from here that it's slightly wet still. And the other one was absolutely bone dry. So it's possible that that's been caused by me watering it inconsistently as well. So that's an absolute possibility, I say. And in terms of any sort of experiment, this one is entirely imperfect and hasn't been done under any sort of real controlled conditions. So I would take what I'm saying or doing here in terms of that it pretty much face value. There's no real evidence behind it. That's for sure. But let's start digging these ones out, and they're definitely bigger. That's for sure. We'll break them up a little bit more. Let's turf them out and see what we've got in here. There's another one there. In fact, some of these Swifts, I'll pop up to the camera towards the end there, so you can have a better look at them. But for being grown in the buckets and being a first early, I tell you what, they're a good size. They are. And these are going to be some big new potatoes. I'll tell you that. So I might do something different with some of these. You know, get some wedges on the go, because the Swift have actually got quite a nice skin on them. You could actually do them as sort of baby jacket potatoes. Would be quite a nice thing to do with them. And the compost in here actually is in really good condition. Like I say, no ants in this one, thankfully. And I mean, I know that I said the ants don't do any damage, but again, that could have had some sort of impact on the Pentland Javelins there as to the size and volume of the potatoes that we've managed to grow. I don't know a great deal about ants, to be honest, but we'll see. Like I say, it's an entirely imperfect experiment, but you know, certainly on the surface, the Swift are looking a lot better. And I do have some other ones up at the allotment. I've got some second early, some Charlottes they're probably just about another week or two off being ready. And then again, the watering with them's not been great. I've been a bit off with the watering, shall we say. But let me come over again. Sorry for just disappearing off there. But let's have a look at these. You can see them, and I mean the size of these ones compared to the other ones, these are absolutely massive, and they're a lot. Again, when they come out the buckets, they're generally pretty clean, and these ones are just that little bit cleaner than the Pentland Javelin. So I wonder if it is maybe it's the Swift variety that does really well in the buckets. I guess there's only one way to find out, and we'll try again next year and see if they work out. But I'm pretty chuffed with that. I'm really chuffed actually. The Swifts, there's a really, really good, decent harvest there. There's a fair amount of potatoes. For the sakes of, it was 2 or 3 that I put in the bucket. Some bloodfish and bone, some potato fertiliser, and again with the Swift ones there, we put some of the chicken manure pellets in there. Whether that's helped or not, I don't know. It's all just a bit anecdotal. Maybe next year, maybe I'll do things a bit more properly, a bit more formally, get some control in the experiment to see how it works out. Anyway, that is me done for today. That's the first 2 buckets there. I've got another 4 buckets of the same sort of stuff, two Swift and 2 Pentland Javelin. But I'm not going to bore you with me tipping out the contents of 6 buckets. You can see the one of each, and that'll give you some idea of what they're going to be like. And then I'll probably do the Charlottes because they're different, and we'll see how they've worked out in the buckets, because I'm sure, I don't quite remember, but I think I did the Charlottes in the ground last year. I'll have to go back through my videos and have a look, and we'll see what the difference is between them. But I'm becoming more and more of a fan of doing the potatoes in these 30-litre buckets than I am of doing them in the ground. So maybe I'll do even more in the buckets next year and less in the ground, but we'll see. Anyway, that's me done for today. If you like what you've seen here today, please think about subscribing. It's absolutely free. Just click the button below. Or if you like it even more, give us the thumbs up. Leave some comments. Let us know how your potatoes are getting on, what varieties you're growing, any particular early varieties that you've had some great success with. Like I say, the Swift one here has been absolutely brilliant for me. And they've maybe only taken about 12 weeks to grow from me sowing them to when they've been ready to harvest. Not now, because I'm a few weeks late. When they've been ready to harvest, about 12 weeks. Right, I'm off now to sort out these buckets of compost, to say I'm going to refresh them, apart from the one with all the ants in, that may go in the compost bin. And we're going to look at getting some autumn king carrots in there and get them on the go, because I can shift them into the polytunnel later in the year and protect them a bit more. But that's me done for today. Thank you very much for watching, folks, and I'll hopefully see you on the next one. Bye for now.